What's good, y'all? Chef Mike's back. Today we're gonna make some New England clam chowder, one of my favorite soups to make. We're gonna start off with a bunch of different things. So I'm gonna show you the secrets of what I do with my soup. I know a lot of people have their ways of doing it, but I like doing it kind of the old traditional way. We're gonna make a roux, we're gonna use some bacon and some potatoes. But I'm gonna show you how I do it because a lot of people like to cook their potatoes in it too. I like to cook mine separate. So the starch kind of goes away from the soup. I want the clam flavor to come out of everything. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna cut up a couple potatoes. I got 2 russet potatoes that I already have. I let them soak in water a little bit to kind of get some of that starch off. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna do some chops on this, and I wanna make it just small cubes, you know, depending on how big you want them. So I'm just gonna do cubes on these. I got my water already boiling. Like we talked about earlier, whenever you're making a soup, it's good to have everything ready to go. I hate making soup and then you turn around and you're looking for stuff. Just have everything you have in your soup ready next to you so that way when you're cooking it, it goes pretty fast. So we're just gonna do some small cubes here. This is an amazing soup for the weather too. It's starting to get cold out there. I don't know about you guys, but we're already seeing 50-degree temperatures here. So a nice soup is always really good. Okay. All right. Once we get these, I put some salt in the water too to kind of give it a little flavor. Also helps the boiling process. There. All right, now I'm going to transfer them over to some boiling water and we'll be back in a minute and I'll show you the rest of the ingredients we're going to use. So what we're going to do now is we're going to cut up some of our celery, onion, and garlic. Chop this up nicely. All right. So I just used 2 ribs of celery. I've had a lot of people ask me about cutting too. We're gonna definitely do a class soon on cutting. A lot of people are scared of knives and it's really easy to cut yourself. So as long as you keep your hands on the guard right here, this is the way to cut. You won't, it's kind of a foolproof plan, and you gotta have sharp knives too. If you don't have sharp knives, you can really hurt yourself. So we're going to use a half an onion here. I'm going to do a dice on this as well. Perfect. And then we're going to go in with our garlic. So I got about 2 cloves of garlic here. Let's give it a smash. We're going to mince it up. Perfect. Chop the ends off here. Get that out of there. Garlic always gives everything a great flavor. All right. Nice good mince on that. Like I said, our potatoes are going right now. We just want to make sure you keep an eye on them They're gonna be, once they hit just about done, we're gonna pull them off and strain them, and we're gonna add them to our soup. All right, so that's done. And then slide all this over here. So now we're going in with our bacon. So I got some thick cut bacon here. We're gonna use this. You wanna mince this up as well. Bacon gives it the flavor. That's what we need, some bacon. Goes delicious together. You can use as much as you want. I like to use about 5 strips of bacon. I use the thick cut stuff. You can use different, smoked ones. I like just a kind of a original. The smoked ones get a little bit too much for me. I just like a regular thick cut bacon. We want to cook this. This is going to be our first thing. So we're going to put this in the pot first, and we're going to make our roux with this. We're going to use a little bit of butter to go with it too, and then we'll put our veggies in there and make our roux. That's what's going to start the thickening agent for our soup. All right. Perfect. All right, that's all we need right now. So we're gonna go to the pot, and I'll see you in a minute. To our pot, we're gonna add a little bit of avocado oil. And our bacon. We're gonna let this cook a little bit and render out all the fat, because that's the flavor that we want, and then we'll add our veggies. So we'll be back here in a second. So now that we have everything going on here, we're gonna go ahead and add our veggies. So we're gonna go with some celery, the onion, and the garlic. Let that cook. Oh my gosh, it smells so good. All right. Seasoning wise, I'm gonna go with a little bit of granulated garlic, a little bit of black pepper, a little bit of salt. You don't want to add too much salt because there's a lot of salt that's going to be in the bacon, so you want to kind of make sure you don't add too much. And then I'm going to go with some dry thyme. Mix this around. Our potatoes are almost ready, so once they come out, I'm going to pull those out and let them kind of rest a little bit while we finish the soup. And then once the soup finishes, then we'll drop them back in, just because we don't want all that starchy water. If you look at the potatoes right now, how they're cooking, all that starch, that could go right in your soup. So I don't like cooking the potatoes into my soup. I like making it separate. So that's the reason why I do that, if anyone asks. So now we got everything going over here, and we have the veggies are pretty much, the onions are translucent, so that's what we want. Now I'm going to go in with a couple, probably about 3 tablespoons of butter. Let's drop that in there. This is how we're going to make our roux. So basically what roux is half butter or any kind of oil you're using, and then you're going to use flour. You're going to mix that in. The one thing about making a roux though is that you really have to be stirring, because you don't want no clumps. If you get flour in there and you get clumps, it makes your soup. You do not want flour balls in your soup. So always keep a whisk around. Let's get that going. I'm going to go in here with about 4 tablespoons of flour. I'm gonna add it in slowly. Stir it around, make sure we're not getting any lumps. Turn this down just a little bit. Add a little bit more. It's perfect. All right, so now we don't have any lumps. You can see it looks perfect. So now we're gonna go in with our liquid. I'm going to go ahead and add our clam juice. I like to stir it quick right after that. Make sure I don't have any lumps. Okay, now we're going to go on with, got 3 bottles of clam juice. Perfect. And I'm going to add a couple dashes of Worcestershire sauce. A couple dashes of Tabasco sauce. And what this does is kind of wake up the soup. So all the flavors that are in there, whenever you add any kind of vinegar based to it, some people like to add red wine vinegar. I use the Tabasco sauce because Tabasco sauce and this soup go really well together. It's not like you're gonna taste the flavors, but it's gonna basically bring all those flavors out that you want. So let that mix around a little bit. And we'll be right back. I'm gonna grab a lemon because we're gonna squish a fresh lemon in there as well. Make sure you keep all the seeds out. Now as this is actually getting thicker, you're gonna see once the heat hits, the roux is gonna thicken. And that's what we want. And I have some water and clam base all ready to go. And that's what's gonna use. Clam base is kind of like a bouillon. Add some of that to this. Just let that cook and save some just in case we need more, because we don't want it to get too thick. We want it to be just the right consistency of chowder. We'll let that go for a few minutes, see how it thickens up, and then we're gonna add our clams. The one thing about clams, you don't want to add them too quick. You add them fast, then you're going to get rubbery clams. You don't want to do that. So we'll give it a minute and we'll be right back. All right, so we're going to get our bread bowl ready. This is what we're going to use to serve our soup in today. So you just want to cut the top off. Then we're going to go in here and dig this guy out. If you haven't had soup in a bread bowl, you're missing out. This is just a nice sourdough. You don't want to go all the way through, obviously, because you can put soup in it. You just want to get it going. I got my oven on right now, setting about 450, so we can put this in and get it nice and warm, so that way the soup has something to go in that's nice and warm. Perfect. Okay, just like that. And then I'm going to use this. Just going to cut that. I'm going to use this later to eat our soup with. So we're going to put this in here so it gets nice and warm as well. So we're going to put this in the oven. We'll be right back. All right, so our soup is starting to thicken up a little bit. Generally, the roux won't start thickening until it hits the boiling point, and we're right about there right now. So that's why you want to kind of be careful not to add too much liquid right away, because we want all those flavors from the roux to come out too. So once this gets to a thickening agent, we're going to throw the potatoes in too. So we're going to go ahead and toss those in now. And that starch in the potato will generally start thickening up a little bit as well. So I'm gonna put those in. We'll leave those cooking for about 5 minutes, and then we're gonna go ahead and add our baby clams in there. And I got those right here. You got all the juice in them too, so you wanna save that juice. Obviously, it's gonna all go in there. So we're gonna put that in a second. We'll give this about 5 minutes. We'll be right back. So I usually add about 2 bay leaves to this. Just remember to take them out whenever you feed somebody. Those do not digest. They're just for flavor only. All right, so now we got that consistency that I was telling you about that I want it nice and thick. If it doesn't come out thick and you add too much broth, you can always do a little slurry with some cornstarch and water. Just cold water, a little bit of cornstarch, mix it up, add it to it. It'll thicken it up. Now we're gonna go in with our clams. Like I said, the reason why we didn't use the clams right away is because we don't want them to be all gummy. Like if you overcook shrimp, same thing. We want these clams, and we're gonna use baby clams. You can use chopped clams. There's all kinds of different ones you can use. I like the baby clams. They got a lot of flavor. They're nice and sweet. Give this a stir. If that doesn't look delicious, I don't know what else does. Our bread bowl is almost done. So I'm gonna let this go for a minute. And then we're gonna add a little bit of our heavy whipping cream. I usually use about a cup. It gives it that creamy consistency that you like. All right, we're gonna let that cook down for a little bit more, and then we're good to go. We're gonna take out our bread bowl. We're gonna assemble it. I got my friend Eric here that's been dying to try this clam chowder, so he's gonna be here to taste it and tell us how it is. Be right back. So now I'm just gonna cut up a little bit of garnish here to go on the top. I like a little bit of green onion on top of mine. Perfect. Okay, now to serve. Like I said, fresh out the oven, nice and hot. We got our bread bowl. Go right into the soup. It's gonna go right into the bread bowl here. Oh my gosh, that looks delicious. Just like so. And then we got our little toast points here. Put one in here. And we put a couple on the side here. A little bit of green onion. Perfect. And like I said, we're gonna have my friend Eric come out and try this, and then he'll tell us how it is. We'll be back in a second. All right, guys, I got my friend Eric here. How you doing today, bud?
Doing pretty good. I'm excited to try this delicious soup.
Hell yeah. So as soon as I said clam chowder, Eric's like, I'm there. So he took the day off to come and try the soup for us today. So go ahead, Eric, dig in, man. Try it out, see what you think. Got all those potatoes and clams in there. Oh man, it looks yummy. Smart guy, he blows on it first. I'm gonna burn the mouth.
That's delicious. Very good.
Awesome, man. Like I said, thanks for coming out, and everybody, thanks for subscribing. We're almost at 200 people, so let's keep going. I'm gonna make this stuff every day, and like I said, thank you for everybody that participated in the chowder poll, I should say, because we had so many people just go for New England, so figured, hey, we'll give them what they want, and then
Definitely a winner, folks.
see you next time.
This is bomb.
He's on the spot.